The withdrawal of Kyagulanyi's petition, I think, has been anticipated for quite a while. For some of us who saw the draft of the petition and the way it had been drafted, the withdrawal became an inevitability. And so it doesn't come as a surprise, but also generally, I mean, in law, parties to a suit have a right to withdraw. You can withdraw because you no longer feel you have a plausible cause of action. You can withdraw because you have lost interest in the matter. So it's within his rights to withdraw. But I think mostly because of the way the petition had been drafted and done at the beginning, the withdrawal was an inevitability. Now, as relates the courts working for Museveni, we've told politicians to keep politics away from our judicial system. There are all these silly allegations that have been made over and over again. One or the president appoints. So what? I mean, even in the states, actually, the president of the United States appoints the justices of the Supreme Court. But the question is, what procedures, what safety nets do they go through to get to the level where they are appointed? So, and we have, I think, substantial safety nets in Uganda that ensure that a person who is appointed is a person that is independent-minded, among others. You have the Judicial Service Commission. In fact, the president should not appoint and does not appoint until the vetting process through the Judicial Service Commission goes and names are sent to him on recommendation for appointment. You go to Parliament for approval, among others. So there are safety nets. So this whole this whole story of the judiciary being used by Museveni is political. And I think we need to stop our politicking and concentrate on actual aspects. If the judiciary was controlled by Museveni, I remember there was a case by Noop about the party, and it was thrown out. I think it was in the interest of Museveni that it shouldn't be, but it was thrown out. You had a point where Honorable Bobi Kyagulanyi was arrested, I think put under house detention, and his house was surrounded. You had soldiers in his compound. The very same court he's saying is used by Museveni ordered for government troops to leave that property. So how can you say it is being used by him and yet you get judgments in your favor? I think it was in the interest of government. It was in the interest of Museveni to keep troops in on Kyagulanyi's property, because then you would know what he's doing, where he's going. You control, his movements. But court said no. Move away from there. We've had orders, writs of habeas corpus issued by the same court. We've had production warrants issued by the same court. So I think let's stop spoiling the institutions we have and pull politics out of our judicial system, because the judiciary is supposed to be an independent arbiter. So in as far as he claims it's being used, I think that is politics. And in law, we don't play politics. We go by facts. Where are the facts? You say he's being used. Where are the facts that he's being used? So for me, it's very unfortunate that a responsible, law-abiding citizen like my honorable friend would make such an alarming comment without evidence or proof to back up his statement. They say costs follow the suit. So when you withdraw, you have to pay costs. And I think that is something Honorable Kyagulanyi and team should prepare for. And I think there is regulation 64, section actually 44, that categorically says that when you withdraw your petition, you withdraw it with costs. However, also, I think courts over time have been lenient on the issue of costs and have either been reluctant to award or have put a cap on the amount of costs you can get. And I think it's a good thing that courts have put a cap on recoverable costs, that also court has the discretion not to grant costs, even when you have withdrawn, you have withdrawn your petition. I wouldn't be very fast to condemn the petitioner in hefty costs, because what in essence you are doing is you're discouraging other would-be innocent court goers from seeking an interpretation of law, from seeking a court's declaration, from seeking court's intervention. And we don't want that in Uganda. In a democratic dispensation as ours, it is necessary that people should be able, even those that cannot afford the hefty costs, to file a petition. And if they feel it's not, doesn't have merit, they can withdraw. There shouldn't be a fear of withdrawal just because you're going to be condemned to hefty costs. Now, the Attorney General, the EC, those are beneficiaries to the taxpayer. Even the executive itself. So, on the contrary, Kyagulanyi is not. So you don't want to create a scenario where really somebody is being punished by the award of hefty costs as a result of withdrawal. So I know, yes, you withdraw with costs, and I know there will be costs, but the Constitutional Court and the Court of Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court have been kind enough to say that even when you deserve this much, the cost should not be so coherent to stop other parties, other would-be litigants from reaching out to court. So I don't think they're going to be as hefty as people are blowing it out, to be. This attack on the judiciary is not called for. And we have told people now and again, if you feel a judicial officer is corrupt, if you feel a judicial officer is unethical, give us the evidence. And for us, I mean, members of Uganda Law Society, members of the legal fraternity have been very keen on issues to do with integrity in the judiciary. And we've had judges that have been, taken off station for either incompetence or corrupt practices. And this can only be done if a person brings evidence to us. So you come and tell us so and so has a problem and give us the evidence. But the politicking of talking to sound good for cameras, I think, should stop. If let's not ride negatively on people's names. If somebody has done something wrong, point it out. If somebody has done something right, appreciate. If you are losing, I mean, we all, in every contest, there is a winner, there is a loser. I mean, in life, if you're a human being, you have lost some, you have won some. But if you lose some, you do not sour grape. You do not get out with a bitter taste. It's actually a show of maturity to say that this time, this has failed, but the next time, this is going to happen. And I honestly think a strong opposition is good for Uganda, because then you have mechanisms of accountability. But it's not a do or die. We should not have an opposition at the expense of the livelihood of Ugandans. We should not have government at the expense of the livelihood of Ugandans. At the end of it all, we are all Ugandans looking for that bread, looking for survival, looking for the wellness of our people, looking for the wellness of Ugandans. And that should be the aspiration of every politician in this country.